हे खाली चाललंय का मला चेक करायला ठीक है
We are starting our session soon. The student present in the corridor, please seat it inside the seminar hall.
वर कोण काढलंय
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the third day of our .NET conference. We have an exciting lineup planned for you today. It's a pleasure to have a special online session from Mr. Anuraj Parmeshwaram, Chief Technology Officer at Soxo. Mr. Anuraj is spearheading technology strategy and driving product innovation with a strong focus on leveraging the Azure cloud platform. His expertise in software development and cloud solution has been instrumental in helping businesses amplify their brands through social media. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Anuraj Parmeshwaram virtually. Welcome, sir.
Hey, thank you. Hey, good morning, all. I'm audible, right?
Yeah. Speaker.
Am I audible? Okay. So, in the session, we will be looking into .NET and Azure and how to make or write secure applications with .NET. So, and how we can deploy that into Azure ecosystem. So, let me share my screen. So you're aware about .NET. So .NET is a open source, free, cross-platform framework for building modern apps and powerful cloud services. So you can download the .NET from here. In .NET, we can build all kind of application, be it a web application, be it a mobile or desktop application, and Azure, AI, or ML services. So all those things we can develop using .NET. So we can start .NET once you download the .NET SDK. So if you look into it, you get two .NET versions, one .NET 9, which is latest, and .NET 8. So difference between this, Microsoft will lend support or like for .NET 9, it is a standard term license, and .NET 8 is long-term support. So what will happen? .NET 9 will Microsoft will stop support for .NET 9 in 2025 around November, and .NET 8 released in November 2024. That will again go to like one more year. That's the difference between long-term and standard term. So once you install .NET SDK, you can do something like in the command line, if you say .NET, it will give you all these options. And if you say .NET new list, and unlike .NET framework, we can develop .NET applications in Linux or Mac or any platform. So earlier, .NET framework, for .NET framework, if we want to develop applications, it has to be .NET, like it will only supported in .NET, Windows, and it is we can develop applications in .NET framework only through Visual Studio. But .NET Core, we can, or now it is called .NET. We can develop using CLI, that is this one, .NET CLI. When you say .NET, it is actually calling .NET CLI. And there are two other Visual Studio is always there. You can create applications using .NET Visual Studio. And Microsoft introduced one more editor. It's called VS Code. So you can develop applications using VS Code as well. So the advantage of VS Code, it is again cross-platform. Visual Studio is not cross-platform. Visual Studio is only available in Windows. But VS Code, we can install and use it in Mac and Linux. So I'm just creating a web application using.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can you just increase the font? Actually, back people cannot see it.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir.
So I'm just creating a model view control application. So as I mentioned, if you look into this, here is the type of applications we can develop using .NET. So .NET Asper is a cloud native development tool, and these are the test frameworks. And this is ASP.NET Core web app, and API applications, MVC, Blazor. Razor is a front-end technology from Microsoft, and you can create class library, console applications. So .NET CLI is a example of console application. And you can use create MS Test with Playwright. So MS Test again is a unit test framework from Microsoft, and Playwright is a like tool for writing automated tests. So all these things are available as part of .NET. So I am creating a MVC application, .NET new MVC. I am just saying demo one. And if I say DAR, and so when I'm saying DAR, you will be able to see controllers, models, views. WW router is a special folder, and all your configuration settings will be as part of app settings JSON. This is the project file, and this is the starting point. Like any application, you need a static void main. So this is the program.cs. I am opening that in this project in VS Code. So I can say go code dot. Okay, and in program.cs, if you look into this, you won't be able to see static void main because from .NET 6 onwards, there is a new concept. So all the static void main, all those things, it will be generated by the framework. I will show you a demo in, say, I'm creating a console application in Visual Studio. So all the things you see here, right? .NET new list. All the projects you see here, we can create from Visual, this Visual Studio. So all these things, all the projects, or everything we can create using Visual Studio. So I am creating a console application. Console application is again some application, say when you are building a scheduler kind of things. You want to say, just giving an example, you are uploading images and you want to watermark it, or you want to compress that images. So instead of doing that in your web application, you can do it through console application. And when you are developing using Visual Studio, you can choose which framework I want to use. You can choose .NET Framework and .NET 9. Sorry, .NET 8 and .NET 9. You can use .NET Framework as well. So if you look into this, you will be able to see some projects with .NET Framework. Yeah, this console application, it is .NET Framework. So basically, a main difference between .NET Framework project and just create a .NET Framework project. The difference is mainly .NET Framework project structure is very complex. And using Visual Studio, you can create Visual Basic applications as. So since since I choose .NET Framework, there is no option to select .NET Core Framework. What I can see this one. So these many frameworks are installed on my machine. So I'm just creating it. And if you look into this project structure, so it is simple. You just got these many XML things. But if I'm creating a .NET Framework project, so you will be able to see static void main. And the project. So project, if you look into this project, you will be able to see a lot of XML tags, which you cannot make any sense. So that's the difference between .NET Framework and .NET Core or .NET. And here is static void main. Let me open another Visual Studio instance. I'll show you a .NET Core console application. So I'm choosing .NET 8. So if you look into, there is no static void main. Unlike this, there is no static void main for class program. This one is .NET project. So there is no static. But here we can like convert this to a like the usual static void main. If you want to do, you can write it like using system internal. This will also work, but we don't need that. Basically, it will automatically do all these things when you create a console application. So this methodology is applicable for .NET web applications as well. So here, if you look into it, you won't see any static void main. Yeah. So this is basically a .NET framework. You can create console applications or web applications. And one more thing I wanted to show, like you can create web API. So basically web API, .NET new web API. So web API is basically if you want an application to work with both web application as well as mobile applications, we used to create web API. So here, actually, I created it in the wrong place. So here, it is a web API application. So basically, with web API, you can create like action methods, which you can both mobile and other type of applications you can interact with. With MVC applications, you will get a UI. So I'll show you how we can run it. Here, if I say .NET run, it will run the application. So basically, this web API actually returns a JSON with weather forecast. So that is web API. Okay. Now, yeah, if I run console applications using Visual Studio, you just need to press F5, or you can do it like here, from here. So the console application, what we run, it is printing hello world. So in console applications, basically, so this is the one of the use case, like when we are working with the C++ or all these technologies, we will be creating console applications. And for I'm just using Visual Studio. You can use it, create it using console as well. CLI as well. So here I am creating Windows. So these are the various project types we can create. Okay. Not sure, like maybe that. You can actually create Windows Forms applications as well. Maybe that workload is not didn't install on my machine. So when you're installing Visual Studio, you can choose various workloads. So workloads basically what all things you need to create or we need to install. So this is ASP.NET Web and Web Development, Azure Development, and if I choose something like data science, you can use Python and other things, and mobile development. So I don't have like Windows application development here. Otherwise, I will be able to create Windows forms as well. So hope you got an idea about .NET development. Any questions?
If anyone is having any question, you can ask.
Okay, I hope there is no question. So I'm just creating a web application in Visual Studio. So you're aware about various types of cloud services. So these are the when you talk about cloud, Azure is a cloud offering from Microsoft, and there are mainly three types of cloud offering services offering different types of cloud service offering. So basically, infrastructure as service, platform as service, and software as service. So when you talk about infrastructure as service, that means you need to manage everything. And when you talk about platform as service, Microsoft will give you a platform. You don't need to maintain any security patches, or you don't need to manage anything. It will be pre-installed. Everything will be pre-installed. But in infrastructure as service, you have to install. For example, if I want to run a .NET application on a infrastructure as service, basically it is a virtual machine. You have to install .NET framework on that or .NET on that. Otherwise, you can't run. But when you're talking about platform as service, Microsoft will give you a platform where you just need to run your application or install, like upload your application to the server, and it will run. The runtime, everything will be managed by Microsoft. And software as service is basically everything is managed by Microsoft. We can just consume. For example, of software as service is services like Outlook or SharePoint. All those things, everything is managed by Microsoft. We can just consume it. There are some other types introduced: data function as service, database as service. All those things are there, but mainly these are the different type of cloud service. So we will be looking into mainly platform as service today. We won't be creating any virtual machines or software as service. We'll be looking into platform as service. So when you are like when you are moving, when you're talking about modernization or moving from on-premise to cloud, there is different terminologies, left-hand shift, all those things. So basically what we used to do from on-prem, if we want to move to cloud, first we will be provisioning an infrastructure service on cloud or Azure, and it will be a virtual machine, and we will be first moving our application from our local IaaS to the cloud or virtual machine. And then once you are ready with all the other things, we will be moving that from virtual machine to platform as service. because in case of virtual machines, we have to maintain different security patches, all those things we have to manage. All the things we'll get more control, but similarly, we have to do a lot of things. But in platform as service, you don't need to do anything. You can just deploy your application and you're done. Everything is managed by Microsoft. You don't need to worry about the like uptime or security. All those things is managed by Microsoft. So here I created a web application. I'm running it. You will be able to see a page like this. This is the default page. And any questions? Sorry. I'll show you few tricks like how do you like working with Visual Studio. So you can put breakpoints here. Breakpoint will help you to, when you're debugging, it will break on that place. It will like stop the execution there. So you can look into the various values here. Now it's still waiting for me to continue. If I am continuing, then only it will render the page. And in MVC, there is it's a design panel. It's called a model view controller. So model is basically your data, something to do with your database. View is the UI part. Controller, we used to write business logic. So in MVC, ASP.NET Core or in ASP.NET, the default like controller is home controller and default action is index. So whenever whenever we launch the application will look for home controller and index action. So we can customize it. So here we are doing something like that. It is says home and index. If I want to change it, say I'm changing it to privacy page. So what will happen if I am launching it again? It will redirect to privacy page. Okay, this way we can all these like controller. If I am creating a new controller, that will also look for the default action index. Okay, I'm just going to here. So this way we can pass data between controller and view. So view data is one of the ways you can return data from controller to view. Another concept is if I want to store some data. So basically, most of the business applications we are developing, it will be create, read, update, delete, CURD. So if I want to interact with the database, you got multiple ways you can interact with database. One of the ways you can import a library called Microsoft.system.sql.data client, where you can create a you can interact with SQL Server. So let me try. So this is a database I'm connecting. And if I want to say, sorry. I hope there is no question. So this is the library we are talking. So this way we can interact with database. Actually, I'm connecting the database. Yeah, it is failed because in my development machine, I need to mention plus. So now it is connected to SQL Server. You were telling something?
No, sir.
Okay. So here what I'm saying, I'm changing it to, now it's connecting to master database. I'm changing it to root database. And I'm So now what I'm doing, I'm getting the data from to-do items table to the controller and to the view. Let me run it. So it came. So I'm not sure, did you notice? So here there is a reference to the library, Microsoft Data.SQL client. This is the library which helps developers to interact with SQL Server. So if I want to connect to MySQL, you will get other library. So how we can introduce that? You can click and manage NuGet packages. In this new now SQL client is only on install, but you can search for various purposes, various NuGet packages here. NuGet is like a package management system in Python, or when you saw PAP install, you're getting a package from that repo. So this is NuGet is a package management library or system for like .NET apps. So if I want to say scrap a page, I will be using HTML agility pack. So this library, if I look into it, it will say, okay, HTML parser, where you can open any website and get the HTML out of that. Similarly, you can do this. You can put this name here, manage NuGet packages, and you can install it here. It's straightforward process. It will prompt like a confirmation box, and now it is installed. So if I look into install place, you will be able to see all the external packages we install. So we got 2 packages installed in our project. So here, if you look into the project, you'll be able to see HTML agility pack and SQL client. Okay, so this is good. The thing is that when you are connecting to SQL Server, you sometimes you don't want to write all the SQL queries yourself. Now, what you're doing, you are writing the all SQL query yourself, right? So there is a another library called Entity Framework. I'm just saying Entity Framework. And it is a which version? It's .NET 8. So I'm just using .NET 8 version of Entity Framework. And Entity Framework is installed. Now, what I can do, I can actually create model classes. So I'm creating a new model class, do item, and I'm creating one more class, do database context. So here I'm inheriting it from DB context class. And then if I want to get to do items, so I can put something like this. So this database DB context or database context basically represent a database, and each DBZ represents a table. So here, what I need to do, I need to, based on that, project table structure. I need to create a class. So there is a class. And, I got few more items. Okay. Now the advantage is what you can do. You need to associate this DB context to the like control. I'm just taking this connection string. And I'm creating a variable. And here I'm saying builder services and DB context. To do since I'm using SQL Server, I need one more NuGet package. Now, in the controller, what I can do, start writing this code. So now what I did, I created a DB context class, a model object, and here I'm creating the DB context and associating it to the runtime or pipeline, execution pipeline, this one. And if I run, hopefully it should work. Yeah, it came here. Actually, it failed. That column name is different. This is completed. Now, if you look into this, you will be able to see that all the values what we created or read earlier using this code, we will be able to get it here. Okay. So this is the way we can use entity framework. And the problem with like one of the things when we are building a solution, this is now it is hard coded. So you should be reading it from a configuration. Otherwise, when we are developing, it will be the server will be local host, and when you are deploying, we have to change the code, and when we are we have to redeploy. So to avoid that, we should not be doing like this. We should be reading the value from configuration file. So here I'm putting it in the configuration connection string, and I'm just saying default connection. So I'm just putting that configuration from here. I'm putting the value here. Okay, and here I can say builder configuration, okay, connection string, and I need to use this default connection. This way, we should use instead of hard coding it in the configuration. Now, let's switch to Azure. So here is the Azure portal. When you are creating a account in Azure, you'll be redirected to this page. It's portal.azure.com. This is the place where you will be able to manage or view or manage all the Azure resources. So in this, there are some structures. So when you create a Azure subscription, you will get a subscription. Then there will be Azure AD or Entra ID. It will be auto created for you, auto provision for you. So this is Entra ID. Basically, it contains the users associated with the thing, with the Azure subscription. And here, these are the various shortcuts. You can click on all services, and you will be able to see what kind of services you can create. Again, it all depends on like your subscription and your permissions. So if I want to create a virtual machine, I can directly do it from here. If I want to create a SQL server, you can do it from here. And if I want to create a bot, you can do it here. And Azure, if I want to use OpenAI, like you want to create a machine learning or sorry, artificial intelligence like ChatGPT kind of a service, you can search for OpenAI, Azure OpenAI. You will be able to see Azure OpenAI, and you can create like all Azure OpenAI service here. One another thing is all the resources. Most of the 99% of services in Azure comes with a resource group concept. Resource group is just like a again like a container which can have multiple resources inside that. So in my portal, I got a resource group called .NET Thoughts, and inside that I have got a lot of services. So I have got a API management, container app, OpenAI service, Cosmos DB, SQL Server, all those things are there. And so when we are creating a new project, you need to create a resource group. So I'm creating a resource group, .NET Conf 2025. And this is the region. So when you are creating a service in Azure, you need to associate a region as well. So basically, in which region you will be running the service. The recommended practice is it should be near to your users. For example, say you are building a service for your college, and ideally it should be running on Central India. That is the thing. So I'm just you can most of the like except one or two regions, you can create server or resource group or resources anywhere. Certain like regions like China and all, you require special permissions. I'm creating a resource group in Central India. And here again, we can create other resources. So if I want to, you'll get all those things where it is deployed, what is the subscription ID, what is the subscription name, and you'll be able to see in the cost perspective, you'll be able to see for which resource group, how much cost is happening. So all those things we can do it using a resource group. So here, let me create an app service. App service is something which helps us to like create web applications in Azure. I'm searching for app service. So this is the web app. I'm creating web app. So in web applications, when you create a web application, you can configure a lot of things. For example, you can create a name. This is a new introduction to Azure. Earlier, we can have only this one, but now if I want to make it secure, you can do this like this. And here I need to choose, this is a platform as service, and you, as I mentioned earlier, since Microsoft is giving us runtime and all, you have to choose which runtime stack you want to build your application. So I'm choosing .NET 8. If you are building a Python or Java or Node, you can choose all those things. And since I'm building .NET, I'm using that. Here, again, I need to choose the region. Please note, sometimes what happens, some services you might not be able to create in some regions. For example, for each of the subscriptions and all those things, you got a quota. Sometimes if you are exhausted that quota, you won't be able to create. And this is the pricing plan. So here you will be able to see what are the different pricing plans. So there is a free version, and which cost it's free actually, and shared which costs around 1,000 rupees, and basic which costs around 3,500 rupees per month. So I'm choosing basic, and here I can again choose the app service plan name, creating it in standard. So if I want to like build a database or associate a database with this, you can choose this. This is the most secure way. But right now I'm Similarly, Redis is actually a caching service. That also I'm not doing it right now. This is about deployment, how we are deploying it to the application. So this is some practice, DevOps practice called continuous integration, continuous deployment. I'm disabling it. So for example, if I am say my application code is running on GitHub, and I can automatically, whenever I'm committing some changes to GitHub, if I want to deploy that to Azure application, I can enable it. Then I can choose the GitHub account. Since I already connected my GitHub, it is showing Andreas. And here I can choose the organization, and I can choose a repository, which repository I want to deploy. So I'm just choosing Lego Organize, and which branch. So I'm right now I don't have a plan. I'm disabling. So if I'm enabling it, it is actually creating a GitHub action workflow. So it is a continuous integration, continuous deployment code. Like GitHub action is one of the framework for continuous action and continuous integration and continuous deployment. So it will be creating a GitHub action file, and it will help us to deploy. This you can enable it. Networking. So again, if you are running an API which is not exposed to internet, that means you say you are running an API which is a backend to some service. So you don't need to expose it into the internet. So you can turn off that. And network injection, again, a security practice. So I'm enabling it. So if I'm enabling, I need to create a virtual network. So I'm just not using that. Public access, and next I need to configure monitoring. So when when I'm creating an application, I can associate there is some service called application insights, which helps us to monitor different Azure services. So when if I enable it, it will create a new application insights service resource, and which will be monitoring your application. And for time being, I'm not enabling it. This one also, there is a Windows Defender which you can enable. It's Azure. Azure is part of Azure Security Center. And tag is basically help us to you can put whatever you want, whatever value. So in our company, if it is a say it is something like environment is QA or production, all those things you will be able to create it here. Now it will show a list of all the configurations what we did so far. And now you can click create and create it. One more option is download template. So when you download a template, say you are provisioned a set of servers in one location, and you want to do it in same other location, you can download this template and you can do that. I'm not doing it. I'm creating it. I'm just for time being, I'm just commenting all those things. I just want to show how we can deploy. Now my app service is deployed. Let me go to that. And if this is the domain, if I browse that, due to some reason that styles and all, it's not loading. It is a default hosting page, hosted page. You'll be able to see like this. It's not loading. Now, if I want to publish, I can right click here and there is a publish option. Here I need to choose Azure and the one we were created using App Service Windows. I can select that. Since I already connected my Azure account, I'll be able to see the application here. So I'm just now I can select the app service from the server. I don't have any other, so I can connect this. And if I say publish, it will take some time. Now it is actually building the application and deploying it to Azure. Now it's deployed. It's done. It might take some more time. Yeah, the application is running on Azure now. So the app settings now it's running on Azure. So when you are deploying your configuration, it is right now I commented it. If I want to use it, ideal one of the ways is you can put it in the app settings connection string. So here I can say, so let me, I don't, okay. Let me, yeah. I already provisioned the SQL server here. Because it will take some time. So I got a SQL server here. And I'm copying the connection string. I'm putting the password. Now Let me run it here. Let me check. I'm going to look at that. So now, this is the way we can debug. Let's grab it. Okay. Okay. For some reason it's not working. So ideally, you can do like this. It is not getting injected or something. You will be able to access it like this. And now if I publish, you will be able to see connected to SQL Server. Okay. The thing with this approach is, if you look into this one, you will be able to see my password. So user ID and password, it is stored in plain text. To avoid this, there is something called identity. So if I enable, there are two types of identity: system assigned and user assigned. So what's the difference is, user assigned means I have to create an identity resource and associate it to my application. System assigned means when I'm creating a resource, most of the resources got this system assigned identities. We can enable it, and when in the SQL Server, you can configure, okay, this is the identity I wanted to talk to. So if I'm doing enabling identity, and in the SQL Server, if you notice, there is one more connection string you'll be able to see. So the first one, like here, if you look into it, there is no password configured here, but here it is username and password is here, but here there is no password. That means it will act as a user for this resource and it will interact. It is not an easy task to configure, but you will get a lot of. I can share this article if you require. Okay, that is one thing related to security in SQL Server and applications. And in this web application, there are things like something like, say, your application, you want to configure authentication mechanism. So you can security. So here you can configure various authentication mechanism. You can enable Twitter, Google. So I can click on identity provider, and here I can choose any of these identity providers. Say if I want to use users to use Facebook to sign in or sign up to with my application, I can choose this. And from developer.facebook.com, I can like app ID and app secret I need to get. And here I can say, okay, if all the users should be authenticated. So when I'm accessing the application, you will be automatically redirected to Facebook. And once you log in, you will be coming back. And this is if unauthenticated requests come, how do we behave? So you can return forbidden status, not found status, unauthorized. It's recommended for API. So when you are using enable identity and redirecting, when you are trying to access the API without a token, what happens? You will get a unauthorized response. So this way you can configure authentication. there is something called course. So course is something like when you are JavaScript application talking to a web API, and you don't want to get that request from, say, okay, you are running a web API and you don't want users to connect from some local host machine to your server. So you can disable or you can configure from which all servers you can, from JavaScript, you can talk to the API. That is another security configuration using CORS. Then the one I mentioned, right? Connection strings, you can use environment variables, but there is 2 or 3 services are available dedicated for securely storing the keys or connection strings. Something called Azure Key Vault. Basically, Azure Key Vault is a service which help us to store these secrets, keys, everything in Azure. So that is the recommended service to store the keys and all the certificates, everything. And one more thing. When you're running applications in Azure, you have to configure all these things because again, it is something to do with security. So you have to like disable all these things, and you need to make sure you are using HTTP version 2.0. Then enable HTTPS only, and TLS you have to enable 1.3. And TLS encryption you have to enable. If you got a project where you are using client certificate authentication, you can choose this. Right now it is disabled. Okay. Yeah, I think most of the things I covered what I planned. Do you have any questions?
If anyone have any questions, you can ask. Anyone? अगर कोई क्वेरी हो तो पूछ लो. Thank you, sir, for your sessions, taking out your valuable time for us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Next up, we have the highly anticipated coding contest. All the registered participants, please get ready to